The opinions expressed on the Simone Edwards Show by our guests are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of the station, its owners, and or the Simone Edwards Show and those affiliated with it. In no event will the Simone Edwards Show, this station, its owners, guests, hosts, or affiliates be liable for the information disseminated on the program, including, without limitation, any loss or damage, indirect or otherwise, arising from information presented on the show. We trust you are of legal age and will consult appropriate professionals prior to employing any opinion expressed on the show. Many of the topics discussed are personal in nature, and some people may disagree with the opinions expressed on the show. We are open to your constructive criticism and or ideas for future radio programs. Please feel free to email us at the Simone Edwards Show at gmail.com. Again, that's the Simone Edwards Show at gmail.com. All right, we want to welcome you all to another installment of the Simone Edwards Show here on the station. Thank you so much for your patience. We have experienced a great amount of technical difficulties today, which has been not only unheard of in quite some time, but also unprecedented. Nonetheless, we are undaunted and we are going forth with the show. I am so pleased to introduce to some and present to others our guest. She is the founder, the owner and creator of The Right Fit Incorporated. You want to check her out on the web. And she is also the creator of a movement called Black Girls Got the Juice. So let me introduce to you Miss Joshlyn Turner. Joshlyn, say hello to our audience.
Hey, everybody. I'm so happy to be here.
We are so glad to have you here in studio with us. So Joshlyn, if you had to describe yourself, we want to get to know you a little bit before we jump into all the finer points and sundries of who you are. Okay. So if you had to describe yourself in 5 words, what would they be?
Ooh, those 5 words, what would it be? It'll definitely be strength, passion, persistence, and another word I think I would say like loving.
Loving?
Yeah.
Okay, those are really good words.
Yeah.
So what about you? What about your personality makes you strong, and what about your personality makes you passionate? Tap into those 2 for us.
Yeah, I think my strength just comes from life and also having a strong backbone with family.
Mm-hmm.
That instilled strength in me to really be able to face any obstacle.
Okay.
And just passion because I believe I can do anything, and I try to instill that in others as well, as you can do anything you put your mind to. So one of those people that when I have my mindset on something, it becomes something that I love, I enjoy, and the strength of it all keeps me going. And I am very just passionate about about life and about giving and creativity, and so it's serious, and I take it serious.
Absolutely love that. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
Oh, yeah. I'm 30 years old.
Oh, you just turned a big 3-0. What? High five, girl.
I'll actually be 31 in May.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. You've accomplished quite a bit in your, I would say you're over a quarter of a century.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know, right? When you look at it from that standpoint, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you've done a lot. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us, what are your 5 daily must-haves that you carry with you wherever you go? It's always in your purse. It's always on you. What are those 5 things that you're like, I cannot live without these 5 things?
I think first thing is faith.
Okay.
I take that everywhere I go. I
love that.
and just the daily life and the struggle sometimes as you go through life, and there's so many things that happen in life that can discourage you. And so I try to keep faith on me at all times and remember to keep pushing. Aside from faith, I have to have a notebook in my purse.
Okay.
I carry a notebook. It's a small notebook that I carry, and a pen, my phone charger, and I have to have a nude lipstick or gloss.
Okay. And so I'm taking it that the notebook is for when those ideas strike you and you just need to write it down.
Yeah, that just miscellaneous things. I write a lot of stuff. I have notes in my phone, probably over 200-300. So if my phone is easier to access, I'll make notes. It could be random thoughts. It can be, ideas, or, my checklist. I'm writing stuff down. I just always have it on me.
I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. And so what's your new favorite lip gloss?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know the newest color I got. I just got a few nudes from MAC. So
Okay.
most of my lipsticks are nude, or some shade of nude, or a different nude. This newest lipstick I got is called Stone. I'm not wearing it, but it's from MAC. I really like it. It's not really a nude, more of a darker color, but I really like it.
Oh, nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. So, name 5 mile markers in your life that you're the most proud of. In your 30 years of existence, looking back, what are 5 things that you're kind of like, that's a mile marker? Man, I did that. I'm so proud of that. God, you brought me to this thing and I accomplished that.
Yeah. That's a good question. There's a few, but I want to start with definitely high school, because everyone's not fortunate enough to graduate from high school.
Good point.
Especially when there's so many things around in life that can distract you.
Right.
So many different paths and avenues people can go down. I come from Southeast San Diego, so it's not a given that you are to graduate from high school. So the fact that I was able to do that was great. The fact that I was able to go to a historically black college, and graduate was a wonderful thing. The fact that I was able to leave Hampton and move to Atlanta and live there for a few years and experience life and be around friends and family and just really find myself was a big part. I wouldn't trade anything in the world living down in Atlanta, because I was able to have fun. I was young. I was really able to find myself.
Right.
Another, I think, mile mark will be moving back to California. When I moved back to San Diego about 6.5 years ago. I wanted to be closer to my family. I had been away since 2003 when I graduated from high school, so it was just one of those feelings where I feel like where I'm at right now is because I moved back home. It wasn't that I didn't like Georgia, or that wasn't like anything bad happened. I was just kind of ready to come back and be closer to my family. I missed out on a lot of things during that time I was away. So that's a big part, because if I would never move back, I would have never, gone into social services. I would have never probably started the right fit. Maybe I would have, maybe I'm not. Who knows? And really the biggest one right now also is just the right fit. That's definitely a big piece of my life that I continue to hold with me and continue to carry it with me until I can't anymore.
I love it. And I love the fact that, one of the things that you really brought out was, I didn't come back because something bad happened. I didn't, because so often we associate the coming back to a place with something catastrophic or failure.
Yeah.
It was just, no, it was time for me to come back. And because I listened to the voice and I allowed the Spirit of God to lead me where He wanted me to go, look at all the things that transpired because of it.
Yeah, so. And I encourage my friends, all the time, the ones that, have left home, or, whether it was college or whether they, wanted to move or anything. And I always say, you always come back. It's, home is always going to be, home. But, I believe in, experiencing life. People experience it in different ways. I believe that people should go out and explore life and, experience it and come back home if you need to, and always have that spice. But some people kind of associate that with failure, sometimes feeling like, oh, if I go back or if I turn back around. And really it's not. I think me coming back home pushed me even further. And it gave me a very strong support system. I know I have it no matter where I go, but it was just a great feeling.
That's really wonderful. And it's great to hear the other side of the coin, because so often we focus, you're right, we tend to focus on the, oh no, it's a failure if I go back. And it's so good to hear from the perspective for any young person out there who's listening, or, seasoned person who's listening, that coming back home is not always a bad thing. Coming back home may be that jump off point to launch you into the next place you're supposed
definitely.
to go.
And you just never know where God's going to take you.
Right. Absolutely love that. So you not only have a full-time job, not only do you serve in your church and write plays and all that other stuff, you also are an entrepreneur. So what are 5 habits that you engage in on a daily basis that you believe contribute to your success?
Prayer and probably more prayer.
I love it.
That's probably the biggest thing. I mean, constantly, growing up in church, God and, the word according to what you learn in Bible school. But when you really start applying it to your life, I really didn't realize sometimes when you have the highest of the highs or the lowest of the lows parts of your life, it's prayer. Like there's so many times that I really have to stop and get on my knees and pray, having friends that pray for you, having a relationship, even with your parents that can constantly stop and pray for you. You know, my sister sends messages to us every morning. And it's just the older that I get and the more that I feel like God is using me, he's just more so around and present. And so prayer is like an everyday thing for me. Also just being persistent. And that's where the passion comes in, because when I want something, I'm going to go after it, and I work really, really hard, no matter what it is, whether it's, you know, in my job, whether it's in my company, my personal life. Those things are just important, is to just have prayer and to be persistent and work hard and be authentic and true to yourself. And I try to have those things because I know that I have faith, and my faith tells me that God is taking me to a place where I know that where I want to be, and it's greater than me.
I love that. And I love the fact that at such a young age, if you don't mind me saying, at such a young age, that what you've chosen to do is you're like, no, I'm going to put God first. And he's the reason for my success. And when I'm done praying, I'm going to get up and I'm going to be persistent. And then not only in my persistence, I'm going to work hard.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we miss that it's prayer plus persistence plus hard work equals success.
Yeah.
You know, there's a camp that can say, okay, well, I'm just going to pray and I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
I'm just going to wait for God to.
No, you got to pray and you got to work. You got to pray and you got to work. But there's often times where, sometimes, prayer is the first choice, but sometimes, we get distracted and things. It's like, maybe I don't want to pray. Maybe I want to just fight. Maybe I want to do something else. And so there's times where you just kind of really have to step back and, say, let me just pray through this, because it gets hard. It gets hard, having a job and being an entrepreneur. I mean, that's one of probably the most rewarding, scariest, dumbest, craziest things ever, is being an entrepreneur and owning your own business. And it's definitely not for the weak.
Right.
And so you have to just kind of stay prayed up, but you have to work.
Right. I love that. Who are 5 people that you would like to meet and why? Name 5 people that you would love to meet.
5? Oh, 5 people. The first person probably would be Oprah. Okay. Why Oprah? It might be sound cliche for some, but I just feel like I would want to tell her job well done. I think that she definitely took a platform, so long ago, and made herself somebody. And it's celebrities like that I look at that say, I can do this. Like, all you need is that hard work and, to be yourself and stay true to yourself. And I think that she was true to herself from the beginning of her career. And she's just made a difference, and she's such a giving person. And I like that about her. Another person would be Michelle Obama. And President Obama. I just think that they have this remarkable image of Black family, and not something that's authentic, something that's real, a real family, to see them laugh and play and to see them, be themselves and exhibit that, that Black love. I love it. I love what they've done, with the country. I love what they represent together as a unit. And so definitely someone that I would just want to meet. I'm trying to think if I can think of anybody else. It's a good question. I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head, but those are the ones that came straight off the top.
Those are some really good ones. I am wholehearted. Not that I dismiss Oprah or President Obama, but I have a thing. I'm going to, by God's grace, meet Michelle Obama. I don't know when it's going to happen. But I'm going to meet her.
She's so fly.
She really is, and I just honestly, I would just want to tell her. I probably would not be able to speak. Just because I think I love the way, and not because I admire her to that degree, but I love the way she handled herself as a Black woman on a global stage, when she had every opportunity to do what people expected her to do. And she not only rose to the occasion, but rose above it. And they were just epitomes of grace under fire. And because she represented us so well on the global stage in the midst of unprecedented hate and bigotry and ugliness, and carried herself so well and said, no, this is what a strong Black woman looks like. And that you can be strong and soft, and strong isn't always, girl, let me tell you.
Right, because that's what they expect us to always be.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I think the other person, too, that came to mind is Michael Jackson. Even though his influences in music, he's just a creative genius. And I think just to be in that space of that energy, to be a creative artist, no matter what that is, it's definitely something that people don't realize who don't have that creative niche. it's this energy that you have to possess, and to be around people who have that. Just to be in a room, I would have loved to know what that would have been like, you know, to see him at his prime and writing and really, really honing in on that creativity.
Yeah. Who I would love to talk to is Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I just, I'm going to sit here and you just start talking.
Yeah.
Pick up wherever you want to.
Yeah.
And just start talking.
So thought-provoking.
Definitely. Okay, so last question in our getting to know you section. What would you like to be doing if you can project 5 years into the future? What would you like to be doing?
Ooh, 5 years, and 5 years ain't that far away. I definitely want to continue with the right fit, and really growing the platform and the brand. And people always ask me, I have a lot of friends who are entrepreneurs, and I know a lot of them who battle with choosing their career with, you know, what they really want to do or their business. And for me, I'm very passionate about, you know, my brand and what I do, and also the work that I do every day, working with youth in Southeast San Diego. And so for me, in 5 years, I like to ideally still be in human services, definitely a higher role. I mean, I have my eye on a very high mark in that industry or that career field, but continually just really, what I like to say, being a hope dealer.
Right.
Whether that's with my brand and the right fit, or whether that's with my everyday career and working with young people.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I'm going to have to coin that. Joshlyn Turner, the hope dealer.
Yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. Okay, you guys, we are going to take a break for station identification. We will be back in just a moment. Hang tight.
Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns about today's show? Would you like to share your testimony or any constructive critiques? Would you like to know how to be a guest on The Simone Edwards Show? Please feel free to email us at thesimoneedwardsshow@gmail.com. We are also available on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. Be sure to follow us to receive updates regarding the show and our other ministries.
All right, we are back here in studio with Joshlyn Turner of The Right Fit and Black Girls Got the Juice movement. So you started a company, as I just stated, called The Right Fit. What drove you to start it? Like, what made you go, you know what, I want to start this company, and this is what I want to call it?
Oh, that's funny. I think it was about 2009 or 10. I was working at a production company, and wasn't, you know, that happy there. And to me, I've always had a niche for writing and creativity, something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to write a book. I was always writing something, coming up with a phrase or quotes, you know, for a very long time. And I have a deep passion for greeting cards. And actually the idea came from wanting to start a creative expression brand. And at the time I was like, you know, it was when a lot of those cheesy t-shirts were out in the mall, and I'm like, oh, those are so ugly. And so in thinking of the bigger picture of the brand, I'm like, you know, maybe I'll start with t-shirts. I had started with greeting cards, and I still plan to launch those. I have about probably 30 to 50 pages worth, because I could spend a lot of time in greeting card stores, and I'm like, where are all the subjects that I want? And there's various ones that I'm like, you never see these in stores. And so it got my mind turning.
So can you share with us what one of those subjects are?
I should have known. I might have been asked that if I brought that up. I'm trying to think which one. I can't really think right now. One off the top of my head, and they may have one by this time, is like deployment. I don't know if I ever seen cards about deployment. Then there was another one. There was a card. I can't think right now.
That's a good one though. When you said it, I was kind of like, I don't think I've ever
I don't know
seen...
if I've ever seen a card that, like, when someone's going off to deployment, getting
Right.
them a card for that. It's a few others that I know because I spent a lot of time in card places, but this was like 5 or 6 years ago, so it might have changed, but I still try to stay equipped to what's kind of going on. But
And don't give away your ideas.
No,
we
I'm
don't.
not.
We don't want American Greetings to pick this up and be like,
yeah. So that's something that's still on the radar, and so I just decided to do T-shirts, and I'm like, well, you know, I don't want to just put words on shirts. You know, what is it gonna come? And I don't know how the right fit clicked in my head somehow, but I went through different names, and I thought it was the perfect fit and the right fit. And so, I started writing different ideas, but I told myself I wanted each shirt to go in different categories. It's a little different now with my website. I had got it updated, but the last website had various categories. And so each shirt went into a category. So you had Live Right and Love Right, and you had It's a Man's World, and there's these different categories. And so I just kind of started coming up with ideas. I think the hardest though part about t-shirt ideas, at least for me, is that I really take pride in my writing, and so a lot of times creatively it takes me a while, but when I do come out with something, it seems to think that the customers and the people, they love it. But for me, it feels like it took forever to get there, because I'm like, rewrites after rewrites. No, I don't like that idea. Or I'll share with like 4 or 5 close people, and I'm like, hey, what do you guys think about this? And they're normally very brutally honest. And so they'll tell me like, nope, I don't like that. Nope, that doesn't make sense. I don't understand that. And so I go back and forth. And so I wanted to do t-shirts, and, I asked questions, got help about getting a website, and, how to, design them. And my biggest thing was focusing more on the words versus design. So I'm not really a graphic artist, but I know how to put things together and make my words be a statement. And then I launched in 2013, and I've been going ever since.
That's really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So the launch process, what was that like for you?
It was kind of long and drawn out, but it took me some time before I finally was ready. I got the designs together. I said, okay, this is what I want to do. I found, a printer that I liked, out here, locally, was able to get my, shirts here sourced locally. And I had planned, a launch party, and, I found someone that I went to school with who had did my website, and I spent long, vigorous hours, pages and pages of notes that I sent, like, no, I want it like this. I want it exactly like this, until it was, perfect. Planned a photo shoot, really what my vision was. And like, even looking back, I'm like, wow, how much I've grown, with my visuals, and, just stepped out in faith and did it. I was able to do it, and solely, do it on myself. Didn't have to take out loans or anything. And t-shirt business isn't cheap. Mm-hmm. It's definitely, it costs money. It takes money to make money.
Right.
And so, yeah, I was able to start it, and it's been great, ever since. I think the most difficult part though sometimes is really not the production. Things happen. Mm-hmm. That's some things you have to kind of be prepared for. Printing can happen, mistakes can happen, or there's different times where I've had printers who made mistakes. I'm like, no, you have to send this back. I can't send this to my customer. Like, I will literally have to, if I have to give a refund, if I have to send that email saying, hey, there's a delay, because if there's something that is not right, it has to be perfect, and I want what goes out there to be perfect. Of course, in the beginning was always trial and error, packaging, what does it look like, or, how you send packages and all that. But, I got it together, and it's been great.
So it sounds like you not only do the design, but you do the manufacturing and distribution as well. Mm-hmm. So do you have an in-house printer now, or do you contract with an outside printer?
Still outside printer, contract with an outside printer. I had one, a bigger one that I was using, a bigger company. Mm-hmm. And then they do a lot of huge accounts and stuff in San Diego. And then about almost 2 years ago, I moved to a different printer here locally in San Diego, Black owned. And I really appreciate giving my Black dollar to another Black business. And so, yeah. It's been good. He's a small business here, and he gets it right. And even when I get on his nerves and I'm like, hey, I got all these orders, even the newest collection. I'm there every week, literally. He's like, what happened to all these hundreds of shirts I just, printed? And I'm like, oh, they're gone. They're gone, and I'm here again. Yeah, it is. It's a great thing. So, and I'm thankful because I can't keep them in stock. And so it's just great. I'm thankful.
That's really awesome. That's really awesome, Joshlyn. Let me ask you this question first. How do you think, or how does the right fit stand out from other t-shirt based companies?
Yeah, I think it's just the right fit is like what I like to say. It's really more than fashion. It's really a way of life. Mm-hmm. I think when you see, there's a lot of people out there now coming out, with shirts and different phrases, but I feel like my brand really speaks life, mm-hmm. whatever part of life it is. I feel like there's something for everyone, no matter what your walk is, no matter what your style is. There's something, something that can be, that's funky, it's fresh, it's, something that it could be spiritual. I have all these different pieces, and there's something literally for everyone. And I think the fact that there's really, it's like a walking greeting card, a walking statement. There's even shirts, for example, one of my earlier designs was men run the world, women run their mouth. And, women don't like to see that shirt. And so every guy that became a popular shirt. And every guy that wore it, they're like, man, no matter where I go, where people stop me, they look at me. It's just like, I feel like it brings people attention. It also brings conversation.
Right.
And people get a chance to talk and meet and get to know each other all over what someone was wearing. And I think that that's like a big piece. And I think that's what makes the right fit different.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So what motivates you to keep going when you face obstacles or difficult times?
Really, it's just, I have this big goal and this big vision, and I see, big brands, and I see people that make it. And, a lot of times it could be, again, discouraging. I work in, nonprofit. I work with young kids who get discouraged all the time. And it's hard because you're like, when is it going to be my time? When is it going to be my moment? When are you going to get those thousands of orders? When is Beyonce going to wear my shirt? Or when is somebody, when is a celebrity going to, do X, Y, and Z? And so you start to fill your thoughts with all these doubts and these fears. And so for me, I'm just like, no, I got to keep going. Like, it got to be bigger and better than this. I started off 3 years ago, and to see, where I'm at now and see how it's, it's growing and people are recognizing it. And I'm like, it got to get bigger than this. Like, and so I really just have that faith and really believe that God is going to make this a big deal. And I also have people around me who tell me that.
Right.
And so a lot of times I'm like pinching myself because I have, friends or family. They're like, this is it. Like, this is going to be big, and you still don't. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's not there yet. And so I just have this thought that I want the right fit to be a global brand, and I'm just going to keep going.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I like your focus and your determination. And that is just, no, I actually have a vision for myself. And so it goes beyond just today, or goes beyond tomorrow, or goes beyond next year, but you actually have a long range vision.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that drive. So, for our audience who's listening, young and old, it's keep your vision long range, because if you always keep it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years out in front of you, then there'll always be something to pull you towards where you want to go.
Yeah.
I really like that. Do you have a mentor in business?
There's different people that I either look up to or may consult with, but not to say that I have like one specific mentor in business. I always draw inspiration and motivation from different people, whether it's people who are, I guess famous and have, have these brands, or whether it's people who are just successful business people. I mean, there's no one in particular where I say, yeah, that's my mentor, but there are just various people that I watch, or people that I read about, and read stories, or just see success stories. And I think that's really what, pushes me, is like, you just see the success stories of people who made it and didn't give up.
Right. Mm-hmm. So now, from a business standpoint, what are some lessons that you learned along the way that you would like to pass on to those who are thinking about starting their own business?
Definitely have to be serious, and don't let money be discouraging, because it can be. Because if there's a will, there's a way. If you really want to do something, you can start small scale and continue going. I think that the biggest thing really is, being focused, being disciplined. A lot of times I put money into my company when I don't want to, I want to go shop or want to go do something. I'm like, no, I need, to do X, Y, and Z. So it's a sacrifice as well. And you just kind of have to be in it, and you have to be in it for the right reasons. You have to be in it not for money, because if you're in it for money, then you're never gonna really make it. You're gonna struggle, and you're gonna get frustrated, and you're gonna want to give up. But you have to be passionate about what you're doing. You have to be passionate about your brand or whatever your company is, and you have to believe in it, like literally believe that it is everything, and that'll keep you. And I think really too, just being one with the customer, opening the lines of communication, making sure that you're always giving quality products, make sure that you're always giving quality customer service, and just branding yourself no matter where you go. I didn't do that. I always, have done that, but even now, I think one thing I'm trying to do more of is put my face out there more. I think because I come from a production background, you're used to doing the work and keeping focused and being behind closed doors or behind stage, and so that's kind of carried on in my personal life. So a lot of times I'll meet people like, oh, I've heard of your brand, or, oh, I seen your shirt. I didn't know that was, that was you. And so, trying to do more of putting my face there, because I'm used to kind of just being back and doing the work and keeping going.
Okay. So, looking back, is there anything that you would have done differently concerning the implementation, the marketing, or the strategy associated with Right Fit?
Mm,
Looking back over the last 3 years.
I probably would have maybe gotten help to, do a stronger, marketing advertising plan, like, a long time ago. So just kind of seeing out, and as you learn, like, the branding and the importance of, social media and the platform of social media, even as far as like, hashtags and just all those things that I wish, I kind of would have known when I first came out, or kind of spending more time and money, because that stuff costs,
Right.
So something like that, I think that I would have kind of wanted to maybe indulge more in, or have someone that was assisting me in the beginning with it.
That's really good. So, so now let's segue a little bit. How do you balance working full time and being an entrepreneur? How do you work that out?
It's a balance. I think for me, because I enjoy both things. I'm not an entrepreneur who goes to work every day hating my job and miserable. I don't feel that way. I actually enjoy my day job. Everybody in my job knows kind of what I do. They know about my small business. They're very, supportive, and I think that helps me. And then also I have the flexibility, at work, and so I can multitask. I can do things, and so that helps me a lot. And just also kind of having the support system around me to help me. It keeps me balanced. I mean, I don't have kids as well, so that kind of takes a little bit of pressure,
Right.
Off of me. So I don't have to, worry about that. I can stay up long nights, or do whatever I need to do. And yeah, I mean, I try to balance that and health and a personal life. It works. I think you have to know when to take time for yourself. There's days where I'm like, no, today I'm not doing anything. I'm not answering emails. I'm not doing nothing. I'm going to sit on my couch and I'm not doing anything. And I think you need to have that in order to have balance and make sure you're having fun.
And one of the things that I really like listening to what you're saying is that everything around you right now may not be perfect, but it's positive.
Yeah.
There's a difference with, I'm an entrepreneur who I have a day job and I'm not a fan of, and so there's this drudgery of going to the job. But I think even in that case, there's a way to infuse life into whatever you're doing, and to make it positive and to make it productive. Because if it's productive here, then that will fuel you when it's time to start focusing on this thing over here.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I multitask and prioritize, and so yeah, it's enjoying. It's not a draining thing. I don't really, like I said, I don't wake up and go to work and be like, oh, here, like I really have fun. Like, the company I work for is great, and we're it's a fairly small nonprofit, but we all get along, and it's just fun at work. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times, even sometimes, every so often, depending on the shirt I may wear, to work, and so people notice it, or it's just it's a great feeling, and I think it's important to find balance, and I'm happy that I have happiness in both of what I do.
Excellent. That is really wonderful. So, last question before we take a break. Is there a book, are there any books or articles or anything that you've read along the way that kind of shifted your paradigm about yourself or your business or your purpose in life?
No, I'm always reading articles, or, I see things either on Facebook, or there are a lot of the business magazines or the entrepreneur magazines, or the last book I think I read was Girl Boss. And I really enjoyed, that book, to hear Sophia Nasty Girl and how she started, and how her goal was never to be like this huge brand. I mean, literally starting just wanting to sell clothes on eBay, and just really didn't care about, really into vintage, and just her story is just remarkable. And you read her personality and you see that she was herself. And I just love that. And that was like really the last book that I've read. But there are a few other books that I kind of want to get into. Is like The Year of the Yes by Shonda Rhimes, that I heard is really good.
Oh my gosh. I want to read that book.
Yeah, I heard that that's really good. A friend of mine told me about it. So there's a few, but there's always articles. I bookmark them on, Facebook, or I read things when it comes to, Black enterprise or Black business, or just business in general, that I try to always read up on.
So, last question before we go. I thought this is the last, you guys. This is the last question. So your red hair, your fire red hair, is that your signature?
That's a good question. I think it's becoming my signature. I wear it every so often, or like a couple years ago I started wearing, red hair, but now I think it has become that. And that's what I'm away from. Every time we're out, it's like I can't ever be incognito, because somebody actually texted me today at the mall like, oh, were you at the mall today? And I'm like, yeah. So I get a lot of compliments. A lot of people, compliment me, like various races and backgrounds, and men and women, and it's surprising. Even little kids, look at me, and so I guess it is. I'm starting to like it. I guess it's my color. It's just the only thing is because I try to be low key, I can't be.
Yeah, there's no low key with no low key with fire
isn't.
engine red hair.
There isn't, but yeah.
But it works though, because when you go to your website, The Right Fit, which by the way, I love your when I get my weight, when I get to my goal, I'm getting the thank God for thick girls.
Oh yeah.
But that picture that you have is so very striking, of just like this flowing red hair.
Thank you.
You're just kind of standing there.
I hated that picture. That was the only professional picture I have. Yeah, I hated it because I couldn't find the model that I wanted, and then everybody's like, why don't you just model it yourself? And I'm like, no. And then I had been working out. I felt like I was in a good shape, and it looked so stupid. And I'm like, this is dumb. I don't know how people do this every day for a living, like standing in front of the camera. It's different when you're on your phone or taking a selfie, but it was the most uncomfortable thing ever. And so I don't ever think I'll do it again unless I absolutely have to. But I'm not one of those people that want to be modeling my own clothes, but I did it because I needed to have it up there.
Yeah, and that's so funny you should say that. Well, that's evident from your site. It really is. It's evident from your site that you're not look at me, I'm wearing my clothes. But I think it's so striking. It's such a striking, beautifully striking picture that it could very well be the face of The Right Fit. So you may not want to throw that idea out completely.
Yeah, I barely had that one up. I mean, I barely found one that was like nice. I'm like, oh, these all look so dumb. We're always more critical of ourselves than anything else. And so I really don't like it, but I'm like, I had to do it. So
if I can just throw my 2 cents in, always find that one shirt or that one whatever that you really like. And model that one.
Yeah.
So that way, whenever a new, you start a new line or a new series, or you decide you want to change up from, thank God for thick girls to maybe something else, that you wear that one, and that, with your red hair. And it's just a very striking image of it. It's a great capstone for the brand, for The Right Fit, and for who you are. All right, you guys, we have to take a break for station identification. We'll be back in just a moment. Hang tight.
Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns about today's show? Would you like to share your testimony or any constructive critiques? Would you like to know how to be a guest on The Simone Edwards Show? Please feel free to email us at thesimoneedwardsshow@gmail.com. We are also available on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. Be sure to follow us to receive updates regarding the show and our other ministries.
Right, we are back here in studio with Joshlyn Turner of The Right Fit.
It right.
I did?
Yeah.
All right. Woo, woo. So we are going to segue now from The Right Fit as an overall company to your latest project, and that is Black Girls Got the Juice.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
That's a good question. I don't know. I can't really pinpoint I don't know. I think it came from, I knew I wanted to have something new come out for spring, and then Black History was coming up, and I never really do anything for monumental for, holidays. And I was like, why don't I launch this thing about, Black girls and having the juice. I think for me, a lot of times, Black women, we're not portrayed in the best light, especially now when you look at entertainment, when you look at reality TV shows,
right.
When you look at all these different things. And so I feel like now, sometimes we need that reminder that, like, look, we are enough. And I believe, I love being a Black woman. I think it's one of the most powerful and beautiful things ever. And I think sometimes we forget to embrace what it is that we have. Even going back to like our ancestors, I mean, they were strong, they were mighty, they were faithful, they had to endure so much. And having that and knowing that history, like, we are everything. And I think that we need to carry that attitude that we are everything, no matter what we look like, no matter what we do. And I honestly feel like any and everything that Black women put their hands on turns magical.
Right.
When you have God in it, and when you have faith, and when you are hardworking and you believe in it, I just think we're everything. We are educators. We're business owners. I mean, literally, when Black women put their mind to something, it's great. I mean, just being a Black mother alone, and I'm not a Black mother, but to see Black mothers and know Black mothers around me and in my life, it's raising Black kids in society today or the world. It's something that is unspoken of. I mean, it's one of those magical things. And so I wanted to create something, having the juices is a trendy, now. And I don't always like to go for trendy, but I felt like, this needed to be a trendy reminder for Black women that we are everything. And the people loved it. I really didn't know how people would receive it at first, young or old. I figured some of the the younger, women would love it. And so the fact that there's been such a great support of it is like mind blowing. Yeah, it is. People love it.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's a great statement.
Yeah.
So elaborate for those of us who may not understand trendy and slang and lingo. What is the juice?
So like, it's even like there's even a trendy song out right now. I think he's an LA rapper saying "I got the juice," and so the juice is like you have that spunk, you have that whatever it is, that creativity. You have, I don't know, you have that thing. That it thing and that it factor. And I think as Black women, we have that it factor, and some of us don't even realize it. Or sometimes we correlate the it factor with, how you look, or how's your body, or, what material things do you own. And really having the juice has nothing to do with any of those things.
Right.
It's really about the confidence. It's really about yourself. It's really about, what you project and what you put out in this world, and what you get back from it.
Right.
And the biggest thing about having the juice is having the confidence, and having the confidence in how you feel and how you look and what you want to do in life. And really having those steps be ordered for you, and you do those things, and it shows. And so that's what it means with having the juice.
I love that. I am going to pull a statement because I kind of want you to go deep on this one.
Okay.
You stated on your website, you said, I sit back and I look at the images portrayed on television, which you just discussed, and social media, and I don't want our Black girls thinking that they have to shake their behinds to have the juice. Our ancestors gave us the juice. We are the driving force of society, the leaders in entertainment, music, and fashion. Everything we touch is golden. I want Black women, young and old, to never forget Black girls got the juice. So now we're going to segue a little bit into what you do, social services. So in your sphere of influence, what are you seeing and hearing from Black women, regardless of age, about self-image and self-esteem?
Yeah, I think it's something that everyone goes through, no matter what color you are. But the thing is that, right now in entertainment, who leads it? We do. Black people lead it. And so with Black people leading, entertainment is what we see. Is kind of what people kind of say that's perfection. That's what you're supposed to look like. And a lot of times I think we all, there's times I wake up and may not feel like myself, or may feel like, oh, I need to be a little smaller, or, oh, I'm curvy. I'm not, skinny. I never will be. That's never going to be something that I imagine to be.
Right.
But I think sometimes we just kind of get so caught up on what's out there and what's put out there as far as with Black people or Black women and images, and people struggle with it. People struggle with self-love, and people struggle with, having the positive self-image of how they view themselves and how they feel about themselves. I see it with my young girls all the time. I would probably say about 90% of the young girls that I work with, have self-esteem issues, or not even, and they also, kind of use, sex and money and prostitution and those things that they kind of indulge in life to make them feel good about themselves. And so it's very prevalent, even with older women. I know a lot of women even still that are in a fast life, and who I feel like didn't take that time to love themselves, or weren't taking that time and didn't get the love that they desired or wanted, or showed like, this is how you love yourself. This is how you take care of yourself. These are the affirmations and things you need to say to yourself to believe it. And our kids and our young girls just don't have that. And so it's very evident that a lot of people struggle, with it,
Right.
especially when in society and everything you see on TV, everybody's getting their body done and everybody's getting, you have this long hair and you have all these things, and it's like it's a unrealistic perception and image.
So, what are we forgetting as Black women? What are we forgetting that we need to remember?
Oh, we're just forgetting that we have the juice. We are forgetting that the juice started way before us. Just looking back, I love looking back at, old images of Black women. Even like my father, he's really into the history of our family. And
Right.
we have family photos in the 1800s. People like are my ancestors, and I see their beautiful Black faces. And just to know that we come from beauty, rich in soil, golden. And I think that we need to remember that. And I think, I know it's kind of hard not to concentrate on what's in front of us, but also kind of remember where we came from.
Right.
And I think that's what gives me the confidence, because I'm like, I know where I came from. And it was so much that was done and endured, for us to be these beautiful Black women that we are today, that we just kind of forget what we have, that confidence.
Right. And I think there's something to be said with unplugging. It's like we spend so much time connected to the matrix, so to speak, that we're always being fed information. And it's an information overload of this is how you're supposed to look, and this is how you're supposed to act, and this is what's normal, and this is what's acceptable. And if you're outside of this range, and there must be something wrong with you. And the truth of the matter is, I think sometimes we just need to kind of disconnect ourselves from technology, so that we can reconnect to not only to our faith in God, but that we can reconnect to who He created us to be.
Yeah.
Like what He had in mind when He made us,
Yeah.
so that we can be reminded as Black women.
Yeah.
That we are the juice.
I think it's right. And I think it's important to have people around you who feel that way, who see that worth in you. There's
Right.
a lot of, even my young girls, a lot of them have endured, being told that they're not beautiful, being told that, they'll never amount to being nothing, or, we even placing value on what men think, and I've been fortunate enough to have someone in my life who, even when I don't feel like I'm the prettiest today, still tells me that I'm beautiful.
Right.
And not that I need that to have, to feel that way, but it just helps to have that. Even, having your mom or your dad or anybody close to you be able to look at you and have that, because everybody's so worried about what everybody thinks or what everybody says or how everybody feels. And so when you have positive people and people in your life who really uplift you and push you and say, wow, you are beautiful, or wow, you are doing such a great job, it goes a long way. It goes a long way even for me, even now. I think it'll always go a long way for people to have that.
And I really appreciate your honesty, because so often, especially among us, right, there's a tendency to be like, please, I don't need nobody. I don't need you. I don't need this. I don't need that. And I like your honesty and your transparency. That's like, no, I need that. And I value that, because the more I'm built up, the more it gives me fuel to move forward, without necessarily being, having it go into that unhealthy realm.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Definitely. I was feeling like, even this morning, I've been kind of feeling like I'm a little getting under the weather, a little bit of the bug. And, this morning I'm like, I have no makeup on and I got my bonnet on. I'm just kind of like, my boyfriend just looks at me like, you're so beautiful. And I was like, what? Like, I look a hot mess. What are you talking about? But it's just those moments where you're like, somebody sees the beauty in you, and I think for the people who don't have that, sometimes you have to stand and look in the mirror. And I think I've said that before, is really look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm enough, I'm beautiful. And I've had those talks with myself, in the mirror, like, I'm enough and I'm beautiful and love everything, about me. Because there's some stuff that's just not going to change ever.
Right.
That's part of you. You can go and spend money and change, different things, but it's not you and who you are. And so I think that if you don't have the people around you that are helping you see that in you, that you have to sometimes just stop and give it to yourself.
Amen. I agree with that 100%. What can we do as a community to kind of gather around our young people and to help them navigate through, especially for the ones that don't have a support system?
I think the most important part is to be true. I mean, young people, they read you. They can read you really well, and they attract to authenticity and to people who have a story, and people who, even if, we have this conversation all the time at work, because even if you may not have, everybody comes from different backgrounds. For me, a lot of my kids sometimes say like, you're not from Southeast, like you're not even the ideal Southeast girl. And I'm like, why? Because I went away to college, or why? Because I decided to make other choices. It's like everybody has a choice. And so I think that kids gravitate to people who have a story and want to share. And there's some people who don't. Like like I said, we have this conversation at work all the time, because some of my coworkers come from different backgrounds. I have people who work with us and work with kids who were like lifers at one point, you know what I mean, who came out and changed their life. And I think kids need to see hope. And I think that's why I always, joke, and I say that I'm like, I'm just a hope dealer. Like, and my kids, they're like, I'm not going to give you a fairy tale, but I can tell you the choices I made. I can tell you the choices that other people I know made. And all I can do is instill in you that there is always hope. And that's a big piece that you have to feed kids. And I think as a community, people need to stand up and speak up. I think that instead of turning your head at somebody that you see at the store, or a little kid who may be gangbanging, or, out smoking a blunt, or, on the corner, whatever it is, maybe take the time and ask them, what's your name? What's up with you? And I'm like that naturally as my personality. So I think that helped me with working with kids, is that I can be I'm very transparent. I'm very open and honest and real, and I know how to meet them at their level. And I think sometimes, if people could not always look down on them, but also kind of look up at them, and almost help them look up. And sometimes all it could take is that one moment just to say, what's up with you? Like, what you doing outside the store? You know what I mean? You'd be surprised at what the kid can say or feel, because nobody probably even asked them what's up with him or her today. And I think that as a community, just kind of stopping for a second and paying attention to our surroundings, and paying attention to those kids that we see in passing. You don't ever know. That kid probably doesn't have nowhere to go. Probably don't have no family, probably don't know where their mom or dad is. It has nobody but's out there, but you don't know that because you're going by what they look like or why they're standing out there. And I just think, the community can just come together and supporting these youth programs, supporting the art programs, supporting the things happening. I've even known that I think the Malcolm X Library is looking to do a teen center, and I'm something so very in support of, because it's right there in the hub of Southeast, across from the Euclid Trolley Station, where nobody, these kids hang out. There's nothing out there for our kids. And so I think when people start to support things like that, and the kids see that, it's a great feeling.
That is really wonderful. We are going to have to take a break for station identification. We will be back in just a moment with Joshlyn Turner of The Right Fit. Hang tight.
Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns about today's show? Would you like to share your testimony or any constructive critiques? Would you like to know how to be a guest on The Simone Edwards Show? Please feel free to email us at thesimoneedwardsshow@gmail.com. We are also available on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. Be sure to follow us to receive updates regarding the show and our other ministries.
All right, we are back here in studio, and we are winding down, headed towards the top of the hour, and we are going to finish up our interview with Joshlyn Turner of The Right Fit and the movement Black Girls Got the Juice. One of the things that you have done is you and a friend actually started a scholarship program. So tell us about that.
Yeah, my friend and I, we decided to do a scholarship. It was actually a few years ago. We both went to historically Black colleges. She went to Spelman, I went to Hampton. And we grew up in church together. And we both received scholarships at church that our church gives. We applied for it. And we're both very one of those like giving people. We're actually like 12 days apart. So we have very similarities in just our heart to give and our heart to reach out and our heart to want to make a difference. It is rare to have people that think and feel and want to do the same things that you do. And she's one of my best friends. And so we were like, why don't we just give, a scholarship? We can start off small and eventually, make it a bigger foundation, which is our bigger plan. And so it's called the Turn More Dreams Scholarship Fund. And we give it to those through our church, the scholarship fund. You have to we prefer to have a female, but you have to be attending historically Black college, and you have to have over I believe 3.5 5. There's certain criteria that we came up with. And so, yeah, the scholarship committee kind of has the applicants fill it out. And then they tell us, who the final candidates are, or who whatever. We just kind of look at like, what they've done in high school, what's their GPA, what school they're going to. We would prefer them to go to Spelman or Hampton, but any, HBCU. And so that's just kind of our way of just paying it forward. Both of us coming from middle class, families. We went to college. We were able to get a college education, coming from, Southeast San Diego. We both, had a plan. We wanted to go to, historically black colleges, and, we're fortunate enough to get, degrees from there. And so that was just kind of our way of doing it. I mean, I like it to grow. And like I said, the goal is to eventually make it a foundation, because I think every child, everybody deserves, to go to school. And I think every little bit helps. People
Right.
realize a little bit of support goes a long way, even if someone's just sending you money for books, or, being able to pay for something. And so knowing that you're able to impact or make a difference in someone's life while they're on their journey of higher education is a great feeling. And so we've been doing that now for the last couple of years. So yeah, I'm excited for the scholarship ceremony in June to see who gets it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So along with that, what are some of the other accomplishments that you are the most proud of?
That in the right fit. I just feel like there's so much more that I want to do, that maybe sometimes I kind of shortchange myself, because there have probably been a lot of accomplishments that I have, but you just be so focused on
Right.
the bigger picture and your vision that you sometimes take advantage of kind of reminiscing on those moments. And so, being able to be a part of that scholarship, I think is great. Being able to really have a brand that's moving and doing something that I love is great. And I'm just kind of looking forward to wherever God, takes me. There's just so much I want to do in life. And so I'm ready to get to it.
Nice. So who would you like to see wearing one of your t-shirts?
Everybody, I would love to see Michelle Obama in one of those Black Girls Got the Juice shirts when she's doing one of her workout healthy campaign initiatives.
Right.
I think that'd be great. And who else? Of course, Beyonce, just because, she's a Black girl with all the juice. I'd like to see, who else would I like to see in my shirts? Everybody, really. I think everybody needs to have the right fit in their closet. Literally,
That's a wonderful attitude to have.
I think everybody should have a piece in their closet.
And so last question before we close out. Paint a picture for us of your ideal life. Go 10 years into the future. And if you could paint a picture, not so much I'm going to set goals, and 5 years from now, this is where I hope to be. But
what does that picture look like?
Yeah, what does that
10 years?
ideal picture look like 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I'll definitely be healthy. I definitely want to be, I'd be in the gym a few days out of the week, drinking my water, eating my spinach. Definitely having a foundation, a scholarship foundation. Probably, I don't know if I'll be in, nonprofit still, but still having some type of platform. I've always had the dream to have a performing arts after school program here in San Diego. So I would love to see that flourish. Married in a nice, beautiful home. And yeah, doing what I love, having the right fit kind of work for me.
Right.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Well, Joshlyn, we wish you the absolute best in your future endeavors, not only 5 years, but 10 years. Hope that your ideal picture becomes not just one dimensional, but becomes 3-dimensional for you.
Yeah, definitely.
And that you are actually walking in it. We are so grateful to have you in studio with us, and we've thoroughly enjoyed this interview.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you for thinking of me and reaching out.
Absolutely, absolutely. I saw the campaign and I was just like, oh my gosh, we have to get her on the show. So I'm glad that you accepted the offer.
Yeah, definitely.
We hope that you've enjoyed this interview as well, and we hope that you are able to extract some tidbits from it to help you step out and to follow the pursuits and the passions that God has placed in your heart. And just know that, like Joshlyn said, start your day off with prayer and take faith with you wherever you go. If you are in the San Diego area and you are looking for a church and you'd like to come and hang out with myself and Antoni and see where we fellowship, we go to Perfecting Grace. We are currently located at 3142 East Plaza Boulevard in National City, California, 91950. Until then, have a great rest of your weekend and make every day a great day. All right, bye-bye.